Today on Drawbli, Abby is drawing.
Fighter.
Click that subscribe button if you are new around here.
And comment below with other ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
Alright, starting out with some beautiful lines for your fighter.
Yes.
Tell me about your fighter.
So, the title of this video
What was that? Is she holding an M600?
I don't know. I think maybe it's an Uzi. Who knows? The title of this video is the not at all clickbaity, "This one trick is changing how I create art."
Wow, not at all clickbait.
Not at all clickbaity, but you
okay.
clicked. Here we are.
Okay.
So the story here is you can see that was a totally finished work all of a sudden, and it's gone already because my iPad lost a ton of footage.
Oh.
And I said, oh, that sucks, but whatever. That was really fun to work on, and I'm gonna redo it with this new thing that I learned between that rendition and this rendition.
All right.
From a very short video on YouTube by a YouTuber I like called Angry Miko.
Okay.
He's an artist about using very desaturated colors, and this is something you have talked to me about lately before as well.
Is it?
So when I saw his video, it reminded me of how you had talked to me when I did that Woman Thor.
Yes, you were at the peak of, you couldn't go any more saturated.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't go any brighter, actually, or saturated.
Yeah, I was like all the way at the top of the circle with everything.
Yes.
And that little clip you saw before of that missing footage tragedy,
that's unfortunate,
was also very bright, because when I made that, I don't think we'd had that discussion yet, and I certainly hadn't watched that video, but I was practicing marker study, which I had learned from you earlier that week.
Marker sketching. Just big, thick brush.
But it's a big, thick brush, and you just lay down color approximately where things are. It's inexact. There's no sketching. It's just, hey, there's color here. Put a color there.
It is sketching, but you're just sketching with a really thick brush.
Yes, exactly. It's in the name, isn't it? Marker sketching.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing here is I'm very much forcing myself to stick to the very desaturated side of the palette. And even this is still pretty saturated.
It looks like you're about halfway.
It looks that way, doesn't it?
No, you're not. Sorry, you're halfway up in terms of value.
Oh, yeah, about halfway up. Definitely not trying to go too dark either.
Yeah.
But just stay in the gray zone. The Angry Miko video I watched also talked about when he creates art, he'll do whole sections of the art that are just entirely gray, but he allows your brain to inform you of what color it really is. He'll paint in a river and say, hey, this river is gray, but your brain is telling you it's blue because it's a river.
All colors pass through gray. There's some really interesting stuff with color theory, is what I'll say for now. Definitely, we can talk more about it later, though.
Okay, yeah.
The face is looking awesome.
Oh, thank you. I do go back in and render the face a lot more later on. What I liked about that was at that point, I was able to bump up the saturation a little bit and make the face stand out quite a lot more than it normally would. Especially, I'll put it up at the end, but my first rendition of this where I had everything fully saturated.
Gotcha, first this.
Yeah.
And which one do you end up liking more?
I like them both for different reasons.
Yeah.
I like the fully saturated one just because I like the way the structure of it turned out, and it was my first take on it, so that was really fun to do as a first take. But I really like this one because of how much it opened my eyes to how important it is to stay desaturated for as much as you can, and then really bring in that saturation at the end.
Yeah, the way you're creating this is really interesting and different than what I would do. We've talked about this before. I've definitely mentioned this before of how, like, the way you create stuff, you do it kind of going through piecemeal, where I start off with, like, everything at once, and then I refine each version as I go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do it. I've seen people work, a lot of different ways, but it's just really interesting to watch.
Yeah, I like watching you work too. You work totally differently than me, and I like that we work differently because I feel like it helps us
We're
learn.
different people.
We learn more from each other that way. If nothing else, of like, oh, I see that works well for you, but probably would not be my thing, or something like that. But yeah, so the gun was actually really fun to work on because I never work on hard edge objects like this, especially not guns. I've never been that drawn to drawing guns. But that was really fun to do.
There's a million different facets and edges on that thing. absolutely insane.
The fun thing was that I got to just hint at all of them and not worry too much about being at all exact on any of them.
Yeah, that is a big A heavy machine gun. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's huge.
It is massive.
Huge.
Massive. And she's got this device poking out from her other side. I don't know what that's for.
The device poking out?
Like under her top glove, see that thing with the little green sticker or screen or whatever?
Oh, that's part of the gun. That's where them bullets are.
I wasn't sure, but I added it just in case.
That's
She's got some bullets on her waistband too.
Well, yeah, those are extra.
Yeah.
Extra ammunition.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a magazine, I believe.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, like
I don't know
some
much
kinda
about guns.
It looks like some kind of big drum magazine or something. I don't know.
In the time of this recording, they recently wiped Tarkov. Are you going to go play it now that they wiped it?
I will most likely play it like once or twice. It's not really a game for me. It's a little too unforgiving. It's fun to play, but I have a friend that's really interested, like loves that game. But what I don't like about it is in the game, like if you die, you're just done. Like it's over, and like if your friend hasn't died yet, you have to just like sit there and wait for your friend to finish up.
It's like real life.
Well, it's like God. It's just kind of boring to like sit and wait for if you're trying. So the only games that I really like are games that I can play with friends. Like I don't really want to sit like. I don't have a lot of me learning how to apply foundation. That's amazing. I don't really like to play games anymore that are going to take a long time for me to play by myself because I don't have a lot of time for games. So if I am going to play a game, I at least want it to be something that I can play with my friends. Mm-hmm. And that's just like not a good game to play with a large group of people.
That makes sense.
You have a really strong chance of like just sitting and waiting for potentially an hour.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying.
I was talking about this with a friend at one point though. It was winter, and you know how winter it's so hard to like just meet up with people.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how kind of jealous we were, how I don't know, much more normal it is for you and your friends to get online and play games together.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's not a guy thing because there's plenty of women who play games.
Video games are boys only.
But, well, neither of us is like that into them. Yeah. I think she plays some with her family, but I'm not into them enough. Anyway.
She plays an MMO, so she's pretty into games.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not as much, but I do.
You've never played an MMO.
I do envy how easy it makes it to just go hang out with your friends without like leaving your house.
Yeah, we played. What was the Viking game?
Oh, Valheim.
Valheim. We played Valheim as a group. Like there were like 10 plus people there.
Yeah, there were a lot
server.
of people.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wow, if we were actually on a commune, that makes me realize we would all not do great. We would kill each other. we barely survived as a commune.
No, that worked out really well. The only thing that I didn't like about it is that I couldn't play as often as everybody. Well, if you were in a commune, you'd just be there existing. But in this game, I'd like leave for a few days and then come back and everybody's like, yeah, we discovered dragons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I have a wood axe over here.
That part was a little discouraging. You definitely had to be willing to play just as much as the most hardcore players in the game, which for a little bit was me, and then you miss 2 days and you're like, oh. We're a lot farther along
All
now.
I did in that game was let my inner 3D modeler come out and build the giant fort, which was very nice, very cool.
Yes, it was really cool.
I like your face a lot. This is looking awesome.
Thank you. In the end, it's still, the proportions obviously still stay a little wonky, but I loved, this is what I loved about the fact that I stayed as desaturated as I could the entire time.
Yeah.
Even this is still me trying to stay more desaturated, and then I do start to add like brighter saturated colors to the face to make it pop against the rest of the piece.
This is something I'm gonna have to try.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. And I played a little bit with like duplicating the entire thing and saturating it even more. And I think for the thumbnail of this video, I went ahead and just saturated the whole thing anyway. Because, you know, YouTube wants that. And it looked really cool that way too.
I love it. That's so awesome. I love how you just wrote desaturate in the top
That was
corner.
I love
You're
writing rules for myself in the corner, like reminders
Don't
at the
forget.
start. Like, that's my focus here. The focus on this one isn't clean shapes or interesting shapes
No,
or
this
good
looks
lines.
so good. This is awesome.
Yeah, well, I have you to thank because I saw you do those marker sketches, and I wanted to be just like you when I grew up at that moment.
Yeah.
And I decided to do some marker sketches
And,
too.
and look, you've done it. You've grown up. You're just like me now.
Yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Mrs. Follygon.
Oh, God. Yes, everyone who subscribes to Drawbli is getting an invitation to our wedding. So make sure
We'll stream you in.
Yeah, make sure. Well, no, in person, of course.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, every single
We'll
person.
reserve a large block of hotels.
Yeah, make sure you click that subscribe button so you can come to our wedding.
I won't send you a save the date. I'm having a hard enough time getting the addresses of immediate family members, so sorry. But
we'll just make an announcement here. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
oh gosh, it'll be nice.
Yeah, I love how this came together. This is just so cool.
Thank you.
I love the it feels very similar, I will say, to like how I would kind of tackle this is, in terms of just marker sketch style. Just kind of going in rough with that syrup style brush or whatever you're using.
Yeah. Now you did mention like things you would have done differently was like block out the entire thing versus building it from the top down like I did.
Yeah, maybe, but there's just so much going on in terms of like little tiny pieces of gear and equipment that I don't know if that's feasible at all.
Did you though? I didn't think so. I thought it definitely required going in piece by piece by piece by piece by piece, but I liked doing it a lot. I went back over little spots like this and just gave them a little more detail. There was just endless. This is the kind of thing you can go back to endlessly.
Detail.
You can take it to the ultimate level of perfect detail,
Yeah,
or
but
you
it
can
doesn't-
just leave it messy.
Yeah, it
and
doesn't
it'll
need
just
it.
as good.
I think the messiness of this piece is like what adds to the visual interest. Like maybe something you could do or experiment with this kind of messy style is just using a bunch of different brushes to add even more variation.
That's a great idea.
But I mean, really, that's just about execution from here.
Right. Well, I put up in the top there. That was my first go at it.
Oh, wow.
See how saturated that is. But I did.
Well, it's not. I mean, it is saturated, but it's more bright than anything.
Yes.
It's a very bright value for everything.
I liked how the gun turned out better on my initial pass, but other than that, I'm really pleased with having gone back in.
I am actually surprised by how similar they look.
Oh, yeah. My consistency is on point.
Yeah, like the faces are very similar. They're not identical, but they are very similar. You did a great job.
Maybe I'm learning to know what I'm doing a little bit here and there.
These are both really cool.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, if you want to see Abby do more amazing artworks in the future, you should click that subscribe button.
And comment below with other ideas of what we can do to improve as artists.
And this is the part where we say...
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Which one do you like better?
Oh, it's so tough to
They're just so
decide.
different.
I like your second one more.
Yeah. I like it too. I like them both for different reasons.